Hello everyone! My name is Alex. Welcome to my studio, welcome to my channel, and welcome to episode 23 of Alex Likes to Knit. I haven't really been sewing, but I've been thinking about sewing. Okay, so I put it back on the needles, and then I knit like 3 pounds. I really like how these came out. It's terrible, and they're going everywhere. This is a video series where I talk about everything that I'm knitting every week, and I've been doing every single week for a few weeks now, and I'm really liking like the pace of it and the consistency. I'm feeling really good about that. So I have a few things to show. I finished one of the projects I was working on last week. Otis is right here, so he's making a little bit of noise. Finished one of the projects I was working on last week, and I've casted on 2 new projects. So I'm excited to show you what I have working on. It's not a ton. I've been pretty busy. If you've been here before, you know I'm a full-time artist. I've been doing a lot more markets and events and things lately, which has been really good for me. I'm trying to grow my business and spend time like putting myself out there, and the past few weeks I've been doing really well with that. So not as much knitting time, but I still have some fun things to show, and then I'll talk a little bit more about my art at the end. So let's start first with the finished object that I have for this week. It is my Beachy Stripes socks. I really like how these came out. You knew what they were gonna look like because I had one done last week, but I feel like together, once you finish both, like they're just so cute. Really happy with these, and I'm going to be gifting these to a family member who might watch, I'm not sure. Yeah, so last week I had this one done, and then I had started this one and was down to my little flower marker here. So getting this whole sock done this week is like, that's pretty good. Oh, this is huffing and puffing. Anyway, the yarn that I used for this is Fellicini from knitpicks, so it's like the new self-striping knitpicks colorway, and this colorway is called Sunday Game Day, but I think it looks like Beachy Stripes, so I'm calling it Beachy Stripes. Super summery and really cute. So that's really it for this. I'll put the sizing details of my gauge and everything in the description if you are interested in like the exact size and how I make my vanilla socks. It's down there. This is for, about a woman's size, like 8-9. I want to talk next actually about my new cast-ons. So let me grab one of them. Whenever I finished those striped socks, I was kind of itching for something a little bit more interesting. So I was hoping to start something a little bit more interesting and not as super basic, but also the other socks I was working on with all the texture. Otis, hey. The other socks I was working on with all the texture was kind of like too much. So I'm going for a striped sock next. And I do have a bit of a theme. So I'm doing some scrappy stripes here. And this jar is actually filled with little bits of my Advent from last year. The Ruby and Roses 2023 Advent had a ton of really bright colors. So let's kind of hold up some for you. Yeah, like that. I'll have to find, it's terrible, and they're going everywhere. I'll have to find a picture from Ruby and Roses of all the colors together. I haven't used all of them yet. I didn't do like one big project where I used all 24 minis. I've just kind of been using them in socks and smaller projects. So this is just the ones that I've already opened and used some of and put in my scrappy blanket, and I have little bits left. I'm going to do a striped pair of socks with those. So this is what I have so far. It's a little bit weird to look at, but because it's just the beginning. This is going to be a Shorty sock. So what I do is for my little cuff here, if you've been here a while, you definitely heard me talk about this before. It's like a fully ankle sock, and I put elastic in the cuff so that it stays on my foot. So I use fold over elastic. I cut 8.5 inches of fold over elastic, sewed it into a band, started my sock here with 56 stitches and knit 12 rows of stockinette, and folded up my stockinette like a folded cuff, but sealed my elastic band inside. So it has plenty of give. It's really easy to get over my foot. It's really comfortable when I'm wearing them, and they don't fall down. And this is kind of my perfect fit socks for shorties. This is how I do it. So this color that I have at the top here is this one. And this is the main skein from the Advent. This is like the Christmas day. It's called Christmas Market. Ooh. And I thought that would be cute to like tie them together. I'll use this color for my cuff, and then now I'm using it again for the heel. And then I do just three rounds in between the cuff and starting the heel. So I just did one of the bright colors for that. But yeah, the rest will just be kind of crazy rainbow bright colors, and then they'll be tied together with this like fun golden variegated color. So yeah, I'll probably have a lot of progress on this next week because these go pretty quickly because it's really just the foot. I actually started this morning, and doing the cuff and stuff is really quick. So yeah, I will be working on doing the foot of this week, probably while I'm like watching TV and stuff, because it's pretty much mindless because it's stockinette, but I'm going to be switching colors and things like that, and have a lot of ends to like work around. But yeah, these are probably going to be for me, unless while I'm working on them, someone expresses interest in a very bright, scrappy pair of Shorty socks, which you never know. But yeah, I'm thinking that these will be for me for summer, but they're also kind of Christmassy themed, since they're from my Advent. But yeah, I'm going to call these my Advent Shorty socks. And that's what we got on those. I was starting those, so I wanted to cast on something else that was going to be like completely plain stockinette. And so I'm looking at my skeins that I have, because I'm like, okay, I want to bust open a new skein, do some socks or something that is just plain stockinette and really beautiful yarn. And I found this yarn. So it's tan with these like bright orange and yellow speckles. And my sister actually picked this yarn out whenever I was with her in Salt Lake City in January. And I thought, because it's just so pretty, I thought it would make a really nice Musselburgh hat. So that is what I have started. And it's just the top. And I did, I put a lifeline. Here's what's happened so far with these. I made a Musselburgh hat before, and I did what it says to do in the pattern, which is start really tiny, you knit out this like circle, and then once it's big enough, you measure your gauge like right here. And you use that gauge to pick the size of the hat and how many stitches and everything you're gonna knit. But last time I knit this pattern, my hat ended up being way too big because I measured my gauge here, and this gauge right here is much tighter than what I was actually getting for the body of the hat. So the hat was very loose, and then it wasn't long enough. And I was worried that would happen with this, and I really love this yarn. I want to give this hat to my sister, so I need this to fit right. So instead of measuring it like that, I did a little gauge swatch. Now, granted, it's super tiny, and I know that micro swatches are not the most accurate, but I figured it's better than nothing, or better than measuring something that I know is going to be wrong. So I made this little swatch. It's so tiny. It's like 2 inches by 2 inches. So I measured my gauge on this, and this said 6 stitches per inch. And it's crazy because like this, if I would have measured right here, I was getting like 8 or 9 stitches per inch in this area. So imagine like how off that would have been if I would have increased out that much. You know what I mean? Like it would have been huge. So I'm glad I did this. I'm right here. I put a lifeline at the end of my increases. So I did increases. I put a lifeline. So I just slipped a piece of scrap yarn like through where my needle was whenever I was on like kind of my first stockinette round. So if this doesn't actually get to the 6 stitches per inch and this hat ends up being too small, I can pull it back to my lifeline, put it back on my needle, and do a few more increases and then start over my stockinette. So I've been kind of measuring my gauge like closer to my needle here, and it is definitely loosening up. Right now it looks like I have about 6.5 stitches per inch next to my needle. And I think as I keep going, like it will loosen up to what my tiny one is. Also, if I do have like 6.5 or 6.25 stitches per inch, then I think that I can just block it out to be the same as my swatch and that it'll fit. Also, I feel like my sister has a small head, so I think that it'll be fine. But yeah, this is literally now like I'm just knitting around and around and around. And if you are not familiar with this hat pattern, you probably are, but you do increases and then you just knit this super long tube. You close it up at the top and then you like flip it inside out. I mean, one side inside the other. Then you can fold up the brim. Or that's my plan, is to make it long enough. I want to try to use the whole skein so that I can fold, so that Abby can fold up the brim and it'll be really warm and like have lots of fabric and layers. Because she lives in a cold place and I think that she'll appreciate that. And then I can use almost all of this beautiful yarn. Speaking of the yarn, this yarn is from Madeline Tosh. So we found this in Salt Lake, but it's kind of funny because Madeline Tosh is a Texas dyer and like I live in Texas. But this colorway was so cool, I really just couldn't pass it up. Yeah, this is a Madeline Tosh colorway. The base is Twist Light, so it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it's a fingering weight. And the color is called Brace for Impact. Show you the color again. Isn't that so nice? It's like neutral, but still interesting. So yeah, this is my plain stockinette project that I will be working on. And I don't plan to finish this coming week, but hopefully I'll have an idea of if my gauge is looking right and if it's working, you know what I mean, by next week. So I want to kind of like do a few more inches. Let me put a marker in here. Then if I do like 2 or 3 inches, we can see what my gauge is at and I'll know kind of what's going on. So little pretzel marker. I made those a while ago. Okay. I also have a quick update on one other project. Let me show you. This one, I just want to talk about this really quick because I finished my first sock. I like how it looks. Last week I was here on the foot. This is a sock pattern from Summerlee's book, The Sock Project. Let me actually grab it. I do have it here. This is a pattern from the book that's called the Surf Wax Socks. And I modified it a little bit. I did my kind of pop of color at the top a little bit differently. And then once I got to the heel, I used just my regular heel and foot like formula and just kept going with the stitch pattern at the top. And last week I was like, I don't know if I want to cast on this the next sock right away because I was getting kind of annoyed with the stitch pattern. It was just a little bit more like thinking and like more, it took more focus than I kind of wanted it to. But now that I have this done, I think it's really cool and I think I am going to cast this on next. I have a free pair of sock needles right now. I have 2 sets of sock needles, so I can have 2 individual socks going at once, and that's it, unless I like put them on hold or I'm doing them with a larger needle size because of the texture or something like that. So I only have right now the Advent socks, and then I'm gonna have that plain project because my Musselburgh hat is stockinette. So I think I do want to go ahead and cast the second sock for this pair on this week and go ahead and get that finished up. If you have not seen these before, the yarn is Stroll Tonal from knitpicks. I don't know the color name or anything, but it's just the bright green. And then my pop of color here is from my Ruby and Roses Advent. And yeah, that's about it for these. Just wanted to say I finished this one, and I think I am going to go ahead and start the next. I have 2 more things I want to talk about. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about crochet granny squares. Otis? Are you all right? Bud. Someone so kindly pointed out to me that I might want to weave in the ends on all of these granny squares that I have in here. So if you aren't here, I had done 31 granny squares. They're fingering weight. I'm using a size D hook, and it's just 5 rounds regular granny square. I'm using all leftovers from the socks. I had crocheted 31 of these, and I made a goal to crochet 100 of them before I worry about joining them and like buying yarn to join them and stuff like that. So I was showing all these in different colors and everything last time, and someone was like, yeah, you might want to weave those in because you're going to have hundreds and then you're going to have to weave in all the ends. And it's so funny because I saw that comment and I had already thought the same thing, and I actually wove in all the ends while I was editing last week's podcast. So, update for you. Everything in the bag has the ends woven in. So let me just show you the new granny squares that I made this week. And then I haven't woven the ends on these yet, so I need to weave them in. Then I can put them in the bag. I'll go ahead and do that today. So yeah, just a few cute colors. This is from my Ruby and Roses Advent, of course. Actually, all of these are. This is from my Ruby and Roses Advent. So is this one. And so is this one. So whenever I was getting all my little balls together for the scrappy socks that I'm going to make, for the ones that I have more than like 6 grams, I am making a square before I put them into the socks because I really don't need more than a few grams for the socks. These take about 4 grams. So I'm just, that way I can kind of make as many squares as possible from those, like at least like 2 or so of each color. Just for fun, because I like that it's so many different colors. In my knitting, like whenever I pick out yarn, it tends to be a lot of neutrals, and I want to have good pops of color in my blanket, right? So yeah, I did 4 this week. So once I weave these in and put them in the bag, we will be at 35. Pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm not like super worried about adding more to this week. We'll just kind of see what happens. I was really excited about it last week, but I feel like now I just kind of have a lot of projects going on, and I don't need to stress about granny squares. That would be silly. Speaking of something that I want to work on and just haven't because I just have a lot going on. Let me grab it. The Tolsta tee, which it's just, okay, so I put it back on the needles and then I knit like 3 rounds. Like, what? Here's my marker. Look, maybe not even 3 rounds, maybe 2 rounds. And I don't have much to go on the body. So this I think is going to become a priority because I kind of forgot about this and then realized like last night, like, oh my God, I haven't worked on this. And this is like one of the most exciting things to me because I would love for it to be done. So I think I need to kind of reframe the way I'm looking at like what I want to work on this week. Because this I want to be a higher priority than really everything else, but this is not portable. So this is going to be my at-home priority. And then whenever I'm going on adventures and need something super simple, I will bring the Musselburgh. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking for this week. And then if I do have extra time, if I, finish something, or just if I feel like it, we can do granny squares, or we can do granny squares, or I could work on my other scrappy blanket, which I didn't really work on that this week, so I'm not gonna pull that one out. So that makes me feel calm. I really like these colors together because they're so neutral and nice. That makes me happy. Hopefully I will finish this by next week, and then I'll go through all the details with the sizing and the yarn and everything. It feels silly to give you an entire rundown whenever I keep not working on it, but I really want to. So if you're curious about this, tune in next week. That's all for the knitting. I'm feeling so like all over the place, but it's fine. I do want to show you one more thing. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a finished object, but like also not. Yay, I made an English paper piece quilt block. Crazy sock lady got me really into English paper piecing. I was obsessed with it for like 2 weeks. And then I kind of lost it for a few weeks, but then I decided this past week that I wanted to finish this block, and it's so cool. I'm so glad I did. I really love it. But now it's just a quilt block, so I want to do something with it. And I was thinking about putting it on a wood panel and like hanging it up on the wall. But I have a new plan now, which is to put this on a quilted tote bag. I bought some yarn recently. It is the yarn that I used for these corners. This is just some little scraps of it. It's literally just polka dots. So I have like a yard or so of this that I got secondhand at Spare Parts. So I'm going to sew a tote bag with this batting, and then I'll use something else for the inside. I think I have a good bit of this one. I might use that for the inside. Or just like a muslin or something. But yeah, and then I haven't decided how I'm gonna do straps. Maybe I would use the gray or something. I'm not sure. I might buy the web stuff to do the straps with. I'm not sure, but this is going to be a tote bag. Not necessarily this week, but that is the plan for this. And I have been just like thinking about sewing a lot. I haven't been actually sewing very much at all, but I've just been getting a lot of inspiration from, like, I've been finding secondhand fabrics, collecting them. I have been putting ideas in my sketchbook about stuff that I want to sew. I joined a organization in San Antonio called Fiber Artist of San Antonio. And I went to my first meeting. They do a monthly meeting. And it was so cool. And so many of the women quilt and knit and the weave. They do all kinds of different fiber artwork. And I think there are especially a lot of quilters in the group. And yeah, it just got me inspired and excited. There's going to be a show, like a style show or like a fashion show in October. And they want members to make pieces to show at that. and I might want to do it. I'm not sure. I'm going to like a mini meeting to talk about like things that we might be able to make for it. So I'm going to go to that and see if I want to do that. So yeah, I haven't really been sewing, but I've been thinking about sewing a lot. And yeah, I'm really happy that I went ahead and finished this. And I'm going to make a tote bag and I'm going to use it. That's really it. And that's it. That is my knitting, crochet, English paper piecing. And that's like, you know, that was my whole week. I feel like just a little bit here and there, but I'm still happy with my progress and I've just been having fun with it. And I've also been busy, which I think is good for me. Like, of course I want my business to be busy. Yeah, today is, it's Tuesday, June 18th. I have an art market tonight, so I will be out there. The market is from 5 to 9. So I'm going to do a little bit of live painting, but I think I'm just going to bring some mini paintings and I'm going to bring my Musselburgh hat and work on that kind of in between and things like that. I think it's not going to be super busy. But yeah, so the art stuff is good. I've been doing a lot of markets, more than ever. I've been doing like one a week. And yeah, it's been good for me. I'm trying to just push myself to get out there more and make more work and talk to more people. I really feel like a fire has been lit under me to really push myself to do well. I'm kind of looking at my art business as being like, what can I accomplish this year? And I think it's kind of freaking me out that the year is almost halfway over and I want to step up my game. So I'm very conscious of like not wanting to like burn out, not wanting to like affect my mental health and stuff like that. But also I know that I have it in me to work on it and push myself and challenge myself. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be more active on social media. I'm really trying to do like reels and things like that to see if I can get my art in front of more people and then doing more in-person events. So that is really what I've been so busy with. I'll have in the description some art events I have coming up if you are in San Antonio. I led a workshop this past week. That was really nice. And yeah, I have markets and really just markets so far, but I'm looking at planning some other types of events for this summer. So yeah, if you would like to follow along with my, art, my knitting, anything, you can find me on Instagram. I'm Alex Hayes Chapel. That has all my art and life stuff, or if you just want to see what I'm knitting, Alex Likes to Knit. I'm there on Instagram too. And my website is alexhayschapel.com if you want to sign up for my newsletter or shop my prints and original paintings. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone that's been watching these, leaving nice comments and advice and everything. It's really helpful and it's really motivating to me to have that community aspect of having people comment. So leave a comment if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.